So today we'll step into geometry with chapter 6, triangles. I'm sure triangle is a word which needs no introduction, be it my lovely girls who have geometric earrings in the shapes of triangles, or be it my food lovers who enjoy eating Doritos or Mad Angles. They're all triangular in shape. And I'm sure if you look around, you'll even find many more triangles. So this triangle word, it comes from a Latin word, triangulus, which means it is a figure, it is actually a closed figure, a polygon with three sides, three vertices and three angles. I would lay the emphasis on three because here we are having tri. So tri means three, triangle, which means three angles. So how do we denote a triangle? We make a small triangle. Okay, so I say that this is triangle ABC, and here there are three sides. We have the side AB, BC, and AC. Then we have three vertices. So singular is a vertex and plural is vertices. So we have A, B, and C. Bound between any two sides of a triangle are the angles A, B, and C. This is the structure of a triangle. Now, it's not necessary that you need to write it like triangle ABC only. You can write it like triangle BAC, you can write it like triangle CAB, or triangle BCA. It does not matter. Okay, it still means the same triangle. Then what is the need to study triangles? Of course, triangles are all around us and they've got numerous applications, but let's understand that via some examples. So we all know the heights of tall mountains and buildings. So I wish there was a Spider-Man who did that for us, all these measurements, but unfortunately that is all fiction. Talking about these meandering rivers which we have around us, how do we know their width so accurately? Are there some turtles who do that for us? Of course not. We get these measurements indirectly. And how? We make use of some properties of triangles. In particular, we make special use of similarity. This is a property which we'll be studying in the later half of this chapter. And that brings us to our next topic, which is similar figures. Now, to understand this, you need to understand congruency, which I'm glad to say that you've studied in class 9. So you would be aware what congruency is. So let me just quickly revisit what are congruent figures. So for congruent figures, you need to take care of two things. First of all, those two figures should have the same shape. And number two, they should have the same size. So same shape and same size. So here if you look at the first two figures, we have some triangles, two triangles. That means they have the same shape, which is triangles. Talking about the size, you can measure it and visually also we can make out that yes, they do have the same shape and size, which means these two are congruent triangles. And here we have two figures. What are they? What is their shape? You tell me. So the shape is obviously a circle. Talking about the size. Now whenever we talk about the size of a circle, we can measure it via its radius. Radius is the distance between the center of a circle and its circumference or its periphery. And in both the cases, we see that the radiuses are units, which means that they have the same size as well. So here we have two congruent figures and here we have another set of two congruent figures. If you've understood congruency, now you'll be able to understand similarity as well. So when you're judging if a figure is similar to another figure or not, you look for the shape and you look for the size. But the criteria changes a bit. Here also the shape has to be the same, but the size may or may not be the same. Okay, so let's understand this by example. So here tell me what is the shape in these two figures. Is it the same? Well, both of them are squares and they have the same shape. Talking about their sizes, even if you don't measure it, you know that the size is not same. Like this is a large square and this is a small square. So definitely they're not congruent, but yes, they can be similar. I'm using the word can here because there are special rules for the size. Okay, I'll just tell you in a couple of minutes. Then here we have triangles. To be more precise, they are your right angle triangles. I'll just digress from the topic of similarity. So to understand what are right angle triangles, that's important. So what's so special about these triangles that here one angle has to be equal to 90 degrees. And we give special names to the sides of such a triangle. So if this angle is 90 degrees, this side is called the perpendicular and this is called the base. The side opposite to this right angle, which is apparently the largest side of this, longest side of this triangle, is called the hypotenuse. So let's come back to this. So the shape is same. They are right angle triangles. Sizes, you can make out that the first triangle is smaller and the second one is larger. But here for sure I can tell you that these triangles are similar because we know their exact measurements and they do obey the rules. Those rules I'll be introducing to you in a bit. So here we see that this is 3 perpendicular. Here the perpendicular is 6 units. Here the base is 4 units. Here the base is 8 units. So we'll understand how we make out if a figure is similar to another figure or not. But so far what you need to understand is that all congruent figures are similar because they definitely have the same shape. So for similar figures we need the same shape. So that criterion is fulfilled in congruent figures. But similar figures need not be congruent, reason being their size may differ, right? So I'll quickly explain this to you by 1 or 2 more examples. Okay, so if I give you a photograph of Taj Mahal, you all know what Taj Mahal is. So I give you a photograph of Taj Mahal and the 2 photographs are of exactly the same size. Okay, and in both of them I have Taj Mahal. It's not written, but it's actually the picture of the monument in them. So can you say that they are congruent or they are similar or they are neither? Well, you can't just say. You need to look at the shape and you need to look at the size. A Taj Mahal can't undergo some structural deformation over the years, right? So its shape would remain the same. And talking about the size of the photograph is also the same. So these 2 pictures would be congruent. Now, if I ask you to grab a photograph of yours 10 years ago, when you were a kid probably, so 10 years ago, say this is how you looked, and now I ask you to take a picture of you at present. So what would you say about them? Congruent, similar, or neither? Well, shape would obviously change over the years. So even if the size of your photograph is the same, the shape is different. So here you would neither be similar in these photographs nor congruent. So basically you look at the shape. So if the shape is same, there are 2 possibilities depending on the size. So it could be similar and it could be congruent. Congruent if size is same and similar if size is not same but certain rules are followed. Alright, so now we have explanation of similar figures. So if I give you 2 quadrilaterals over here, A, B, C, D and P, Q, R, S, clearly they are having the same shape. But the size, so size-wise they do appear to be similar, but a mere visual inspection won't tell you if a pair of figures is similar or not. There are certain mathematical rules. So there's a concrete procedure by which we go ahead and make out if a figure is similar to another figure or not. So here, let's understand this by 2 examples. So here you see that this is your real Earth and this is a miniature 3D replica of our Earth and this is basically our globe. Okay, so do they have the same shape? Definitely they do have the same shape. Talking about their sizes, so the sizes are not same, so definitely they are not congruent. But even if they're not congruent, they can be similar. So for similarity, we see that Earth, every inclination in Earth is same as the inclination in globe, number 1. Number 2, the distances between any 2 points on Earth are proportional to the distances on globe. So if I say that there are 2 points A and B on Earth and I take the same 2 points on my globe. So let's say here the distance between them is 4 kilometers and here the distance can be 4 centimeters. So definitely the distances won't be the same, but they would be proportional to one another. Okay, there would be some sort of proportionality between them. So definitely here I can say that yes, these 2 are similar. Then here we have a real aeroplane and here we have a toy aeroplane. So here we can't really comment. So first of all, they cannot be congruent because the shape is same but the sizes are different. Talking about similarity, we cannot comment. Okay, we need to know the exact measurements to be able to answer this question. So moving on from those applications, we move on to figures because in math we'll be given figures and not these application based questions at the moment. So for similar figures, these are the 2 things that you look forward to. Okay, so you need to check the corresponding angles and you need to look for the corresponding sides. What about the angles? They have to be equal, and what about the sides? They have to be in the same ratio. So for instance, if I take the same two quadrilaterals ABCD and PQRS, okay, so let me call this ABCD and this as PQRS. So I am saying that the corresponding angles should be equal, okay. So that means this angle A should be equal to angle P. Then this angle B should be equal to angle Q. Then this angle C should be equal to angle R. And angle D should be equal to angle S. The corresponding angles should be equal. That is what we mean by that. And talking about the corresponding sides, so we'll take the side AB. Corresponding to this, we have the side PQ. So AB upon PQ. We are interested in finding this ratio. And if the two figures are similar, this ratio will turn out to be BC upon QR. Then take another set of corresponding sides, CD upon RS. And this is ultimately equal to your dA upon SP. So if these things are being fulfilled, I can say that my two quadrilaterals ABCD and PQRS are similar. So visually you can make out, but you can, go wrong in that. You need exact measurements. So this is how you prove if any two figures are similar or not. Now this ratio has got a special name for it. It's called the scale factor or the representative fraction. Then here we have a fun activity. So you can do it under adult supervision, but let's see if you can do it yourself. So just quickly look for a light source in your home. Okay, so let's say this is your ceiling and there's a hanging bulb. You can have any light source though. And let's say this bulb is hanging from point O. Okay, what you need to do is you need to make use of your scissors and cut a piece of cardboard. Cut it in the shape of this quadrilateral like we have over here, A, B, C, D. Okay, cut it like this, A, B, C, D. Now hold it at some distance from your ground or from your table. Okay, and make sure that your bulb or tube light is on. You will see that this shape, this object is going to cast its shadow on the ground or on the table. And let's say the shadow that we get is A dash, B dash, C dash and D dash. Now, I won't go into physics explaining you properties of light, but you can observe this for yourself that the shadow would have the exact same shape as your cardboard piece. Okay, but the size may not be the same. In fact, there are chances that you'll get a magnified version for the shadow. So this quadrilateral A dash, B dash, C dash is expected to be a magnification of the quadrilateral A, B, C, D. Now what you need to do is make some measurements. So to make some measurements, you require a protractor and a ruler. So measure this angle A and you'll see it turns out to be equal to this angle A dash. Measure angle B, it will turn out to be equal to angle B dash. Measure angle C, it will be equal to angle C dash. Measure angle D and that will be equal to D dash. Okay. Then apart from angles, I told you we need to look for the sides as well, the corresponding sides. So corresponding to AB, we have A dash, B dash, find out its ratio, find out BC upon B dash, C dash, find out CD upon C dash, D dash, and DA upon D dash, A dash. All these ratios, which we were calling representative fractions, would turn out to be equal. And if that is the case, we can say that this object and its shadow, they are forming a pair of similar figures. Now, using that knowledge, we will verify if the given polygons are similar or not. So first of all, you need to look at the shape. For shape, you need to first of all look at the number of sides. So both of them are having 4 sides each and both of them are quadrilaterals. And you can visually make out the shape. So the shapes are the same. Okay. Then talking about their size. So now we can't do that visually. I know my students are very smart, but we don't have to do it visually because that is just making the whole process quite erroneous in that way. You need to be very sure of your measurements, so just go step by step. So first of all, you look for the angles. So look for angle A corresponding to which we have angle P. So angle A and angle P are equal. What are they equal to? 105 degrees. Then what is angle B compared to angle Q? Its corresponding angle. and they are also equal to 100 degrees. Find out angle C and angle R, angle S and angle D and S rather. So they are all turning out to be equal to one another. So the corresponding angles so far are equal. The first condition is fulfilled. The second condition, which is pertaining to the sides, the corresponding sides, let's figure that out. So find out AB upon PQ. Okay, you take the ratio of the first two corresponding sides. So AB is 1.5 centimeters and PQ is 3.0 centimeters. So this turns out to be 1 by 2 or 0.5. Okay, now I would like you to find out BC and divide it by its corresponding side, which is QR. So that will be 2.5 upon 5. It will also be 1 upon 2. Then let's quickly find out CD upon RS, that is 2.4 upon 4.8, again equal to 1 by 2. Find out DA upon SP, which is 2.1 upon 4.2, again equal to 1 by 2. So what do we see over here? That AB upon PQ is equal to BC upon QR is equal to CD upon RS is equal to DA upon SP. So what do we see? That the corresponding sides are in the same ratio. So the second condition is also fulfilled. So if they are having the same shape, the same size, not same, actually similar, then we can say yes, the given polygons are similar. Let's try it out for another set of figures. So here if you look at the shape itself tells you that the figures cannot be similar. Because here if you see that all the sides are of equal length, but here you are having breadth as 3 centimeters, length as 3.5 centimeters, which means that this is a rectangle whereas this is a square. So if the shape itself is not same, we can definitely say without looking into the angles and the sides that they are not similar. However, if you're not able to make out that they're having the same shape, you can go ahead and find out the ratios of corresponding sides. See, angles anyways, you've seen both of them are equal to 90 degrees. If you find out the ratios of the sides, you'll get some ratios as 3 upon 3.5 and some ratios as 3 by 3. So the ratios won't be equal, right? Which means if you look at the ratios also, you can see that they are not similar. So this is the easier way, just look at the shape and you can say that they're not similar. It's up to you totally. Then here, so here itself you look at the shape again, okay? So this is a square, whereas this, if you remember, is a rhombus. So the two are different in shapes, okay? So definitely they cannot be similar. But still, if you don't know that this is a square, this is a rhombus, you can go ahead find out the angles. Even the angles over here, they're all equal to 90 degree. But none of the angles in a rhombus is equal to 90 degree. So if the corresponding angles are not equal, again you can say they're not similar. Now we'll extend this idea of similar figures to triangles. So what do we mean by similar triangles? The same thing, the same rules would be followed over here. So if I give you two triangles ABC and DEF, you need to look for the same shape. The shapes are obviously the same. We are referring to triangles. And talking about the angles, you see the corresponding angles. A and D are equal. B and E are equal. C and F are equal. So the first condition is fulfilled. For the second condition, you need to find out the representative fractions, which are nothing but the ratios of your corresponding sides. So AB upon DE is equal to BC upon EF is equal to AC upon DF. So the second condition is also fulfilled. In that case, we say that the two triangles are similar. But instead of writing this entire statement, we can represent this symbolically using this symbol. This is the symbol which we use for similarity. Alright, you already know the symbol for congruency. It's like this. Okay, so don't get confused. So this is the symbol which we used for similarity. So we say triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEF. One very important thing that you need to be very sure of is that the way you are writing these triangles. I told you in the very beginning that this triangle ABC can be written in different ways. We can write it like triangle BAC, triangle CAB and so on. But here you just can't have your triangle written in any random order. So if you are writing A first, corresponding to that, here you need to have D because angle A and D are equal. Then if I give you B, then corresponding to that, the middle term should be E over here as well. Okay, because B and E are equal, then C is equal to F, so C and F should be like this. Okay, so it would be wrong to say that triangle ABC is similar to triangle, say, FED, because A would correspond to F then, whereas A and F are not equal. Then here B would correspond to E and C would correspond to D. So C and D again, they're not equal. So this would be a wrong representation. Okay, so be very careful of the way you're representing your triangles. Okay, so here we have another activity by which we'll understand the basic proportionality theorem. So here you won't require a lot of things. All you'll require is your pencil and your ruler. So quickly draw an angle XAY like this. So these are the two rays. So we'll have arrows over here, X, A, Y. Now you have to take this arm AX and you have to plot some points over here. And these points have to be equidistant. So equidistant, as the name suggests, means equal distance. So all these points should be at the same distance from one another. So we take a point P over here. Okay, let's say AP, this distance is 1 centimeter. Make use of your ruler and take a distance of 1 centimeter away from point P. Plot this point Q, then QD, RP. So all these distances are 1 centimeter each then. Okay, so basically I'm trying to say here that AP should be equal to PQ, should be equal to QD, DR and RP. Once you're done with this arm AX, let's focus on this another arm AY. Now this point D, you draw a line segment from here, make it touch your ray AY at this point E. Draw a line segment from point B and make it touch ray AY at point C. Okay. Once you're done with this, now you need to make some measurements. Okay. So what you can measure is, measure AD for me. So if you had this gap of 1 centimeter, then it should turn out to be 3 centimeters. Then you find out DB, which should be 2 centimeters if you took a gap of 1 centimeter. So basically then you calculate AD upon DB, that turns out to be 3 by 2. Remember this. Then find out AE upon EC. Okay, I can't comment here what the lengths would be, but you have a ruler, you do the work for me. And don't be surprised if your answer turns out to be 3 by 2, because this is nothing but the basic proportionality theorem. We'll just see how. So here I'll call it theorem 6.1. It says that if a line is drawn parallel to one side of a triangle, so let me consider a triangle. Okay, let's say I'll call this triangle ABC. So I draw a line parallel to this side. Okay, let's say this is my line and that intersects the other two sides in distinct points. Let's say D and E. So this is parallel. This is how we show parallel lines. Then the other two sides are divided in the same ratio. So basically if I'm having a triangle ABC and I draw a line DE parallel to BC, then in that case, according to this basic proportionality theorem, which is theorem 6.1, I can say that AD upon DB is equal to AE upon EC. Now this is what we are going to prove over here as well. So what you need to do is you make this DE and BC parallel, join the points C and D by dotted lines, join the points B and E. Now we'll be finding areas of triangles here. So you know that area of a triangle is equal to half base into height. So to get this height, we need to drop some perpendiculars. So from D, you drop a perpendicular on the side AC, and this is DM. Then you drop another perpendicular from E on the side AB, and let's say it is at point N. Okay, so your figure should look something like this. Now our focus would be on triangle ADE. Okay, so in triangle ADE, just calculate its area using half base into height. So it will turn out to be half AD. AD is the base and the perpendicular over here is EN. Okay, then you find out triangle BDE, find out its area. Okay, BDE. So here it will be half, base over here is DB and height over here, the perpendicular remains the same, EN. Okay, then you just take the ratios. So you take area triangle ADE upon area of triangle BDE. So if you take these ratios, you will see 1 by 2 will cancel, EN would cancel. You can show this working. So ultimately you will get this ratio of areas as AD upon DB. So you can make this as your equation number 1. Then we'll focus on two more triangles. Okay, so now we'll focus on triangle ADE again, whose area was already known to us. And first of all, let's calculate area of triangle DEC. DEC. So here, half base would be your D. So height would be DM over here, and the base would be EC of this triangle. Now again, I want you to calculate this ratio of area triangle ADE upon area triangle DEC. So again, when you cancel terms, you will realize that DM gets cancelled, and 1 by 2 will get cancelled. And basically, I'm writing triangle ADE in terms of DM, this altitude now. So it will become half AE into DM, and this triangle ADC's area is half DM into EC. So half cancels, so you get AE upon EC. You make this entire expression equation number 2. Then you use equations 1 and 2. So how you'll use this? You first of all look at triangle BDE and triangle DEC. Okay, triangle BDE and triangle DEC. So they share the same base, which is DE. Okay, same base DE, and they are bound between the same parallel lines, which are DE and BC. These are your parallel lines. So with this, I can say that area of triangle BDE is area of triangle DEC. Okay, now if both of them have the same areas, then I told you that the first expression was what? Area triangle ADE upon area triangle BDE, and the second expression was area triangle ADE upon area triangle DEC. So with that, I can say that ADE triangle is the same, and area of triangle BDE DEC is also the same. So I can equate the two expressions. I can equate the right hand sides now. So the first expression had the right hand side as AD upon DB, and here the right hand side of the second expression is AE upon EC. So we saw that if DE is parallel to BC, AD upon DB is AE upon EC. We've proven that as well. So just find out the areas of triangle ADE and triangle BDE in terms of the altitude DM. Okay, in terms of the altitude actually EN. Then you find out the areas of triangle ADE and DEC in terms of the altitude DM. Find out the ratios of the two areas, and then you say that the area of triangle BDE and DEC would be the same. So we can equate expressions 1 and 2, and this is what you get then. Then we have to see if the converse of this theorem could also be true, which is the converse of basic proportionality theorem. So again, you need to draw an angle XAY. So these are the two rays, so you'll have arrows over here. And now you take some equidistant points on the arm AX, and now this time on the arm AY as well. So take here B1, B2, B3, B4, B, C1, C2, C3, C4, C. So what you need to keep in mind is that here your AB1 should be equal to B1, B2, should be equal to B2, B3, which should be further equal to B3, B4 and B4, B. So basically these distances have to be the same. Let's again assume that the distances that you're taking are 1 centimeter each. Okay. Then similarly, let's take the distances equal on the other arm as well. So AC1 should be equal to C1, C2. This should be equal to C2, C3. This should be equal to C3, C4. And this should be equal to C4, C. And let's say these distances are also equal to 1 centimeter each. Now, what I would like you to do is find out AB1 upon B1B and compare this ratio with AC1 upon C1C. So you'll realize that they turn out to be equal 1 by 4. See, AB1 over here is 1, and if you calculate B1B, it will be 4 centimeters, provided you took this gap as 1 centimeter. So if this ratio is same, you can also see that this B1C1 is actually parallel to BC. So B1C1 is parallel to BC. You can make this result equation number 1. Then we'll find out AB2 upon B2B and compare this ratio with AC2 upon C2C. You'll realize that they also turn out to be equal and equal to 2 by 3. Now again, if you join these 2 points, here you can see that B2C2 is parallel to BC. So make this equation number 2. Okay, then you can find out AB3 upon B3B. Compare it with AC3 upon C3C and let me know what you're getting. You should be getting 3 by 2 over here if I'm not wrong. And again, if you join B3, C3, what do we expect this line to be? Parallel to BC. So your B3, C3 is parallel to BC. Then do the same thing for B4, C4. So if you find out AB4 upon B4B, it will also turn out to be equal to AC4 upon C4C, and actually they'll be equal to 4 by 1. So here again you can see that B4C4 is parallel to BC. Mark this as equation number 3, equation number 4. So from here you can make out that what are they? They are small triangles only in themselves, okay, like triangle AB1C1, ABCL, like that. So here we see that if the side is not parallel, but I say that these sides are divided in the same ratio, then automatically this is parallel to the third side of the triangle. That's the converse of basic proportionality theorem. So if a line divides any 2 sides of a triangle in the same ratio, so if I give you a triangle ABC and there is a side which is dividing, there's a line which divides this triangle, okay, let's say at points D and E, and if I give you that AD upon DB is equal to AE upon EC, then it automatically means that this DE is parallel to BC. This is exactly what we're going to prove in this figure. So what you need to do here is that you just suppose that DE is not parallel to BC and you draw DE dash parallel to BC, okay? So we are assuming that this is not parallel to BC but DE dash is parallel to BC. So now if your DE dash is parallel to BC, you can make use of your theorem 6.1, the basic proportionality theorem, and say that if DE dash is parallel to BC, then the other 2 sides would be divided in the same ratio. We can say that AD upon DB is equal to AE dash upon E dash C. But what we are interested here in is AE upon EC. We are interested in this ratio, AE upon EC. And that will also turn out to be the same as AE dash upon E dash C. Now what you can do is you add 1 to both sides. Alright, if you add 1 to both sides, you will get AE upon EC plus 1 and it will be equal to AE dash upon E dash C plus 1. Now once you get this, you can take the LCM, so it will give you AE plus EC upon EC is equal to AE dash plus E dash C upon E dash C. Now what is AE plus EC? This is actually your triangle side AC. So AC upon EC is what we are getting now. Then if you look over here, AE dash plus E dash C, this is also nothing but your side AC upon E dash C. Now you can cancel AC. So you get EC is equal to E dash C. Now this can only be true if E and E dash coincide. Coincide means E and E dash are the same points. So in that case only we can say that this is true, which means that if DE dash is parallel to BC, then DE is also parallel to BC, which is exactly what we wanted to prove, that if AD upon DB is equal to AE dash upon E dash C or AE upon EC, then your DE turns out to be parallel to BC. So that means the converse of basic proportionality theorem is also true. Now we'll understand this by some examples. So over here we have example 1. So if a line intersects sides AB and AC of a triangle ABC. So we have a triangle ABC and we have the sides AB and AC. Let's say that this line is intersecting the 2 sides at points D and E respectively, and this DE is parallel to BC. Then you have to prove that AD upon AB is equal to AE upon EC. So it's not like what we've been doing so far. We've been proving AD upon DB, but not AD upon the entire side AB. So let's see. So it's given that DE is parallel to BC. So using theorem 6.1 or the basic proportionality theorem, we can say that AD upon DB is equal to AE upon EC, right? Now what you can do is you can take reciprocal on both sides, so you will get DB upon AD is equal to EC upon AE. You've done nothing but you've taken reciprocal on both sides, and now you add 1 to both sides, so you'll get DB upon AD plus 1 is equal to EC upon AE plus 1, adding 1 to both sides. So if you take the LCM, you'll have DB plus AD upon AD, and this will be EC plus AE upon AE. If you carefully notice, DB plus AD is nothing but the side AB. So AB upon AD is equal to EC plus AE. This is nothing but side AC upon AE. Then you again take reciprocal, you will get AD upon AB is equal to AE upon AC. You got this on taking reciprocal on both sides, and this is what we wanted to prove, so hence proved. Okay. Then ABCD is a trapezium. I hope you know what a trapezium means. A trapezium looks like this, okay? It has a pair of parallel sides and a pair of non-parallel sides like these, okay? It's a quadrilateral. So here we've been given a trapezium ABCD. Here AB is parallel to DC, and they have said that E and F are points on the non-parallel sides such that EF is parallel to AB, okay? So what has been given to me is that AB is parallel to DC and EF is parallel to AB, which means that EF would also be parallel to DC. In other words, I'm just saying that all these three lines, AB, EF, DC, they are parallel to one another. Okay, now if I say that EF is parallel to DC, I can use theorem 6.1, the basic proportionality theorem over here. How? I'll just tell you. You join these points A and C by dotted line, and let's say it meets EF at point G. Okay, now if EF is parallel to DC, I can say that EG is parallel to DC. I'm considering triangle ADC over here. Okay, I'm considering triangle ADC, and I'm saying that EG is parallel to DC because EF is parallel to DC. So now I'm using theorem 6.1 over here, and I can say that AE upon ED should be equal to AG upon GC. You can make this equation number 1. Then you consider this triangle CAB, this triangle, okay? Now here I can say that this GF is parallel to AB because this entire EF is parallel to AB. So do mention the reason in brackets, okay, for every step that you're doing. Then you can use theorem 6.1 if these two sides are parallel, and then you can say that CF upon CB is equal to CG upon CA, right? And now if you take reciprocal in this case, you will get BC upon CF is equal to AG upon GC, okay? Mark this equation number 2. Now if you look at equations 1 and 2 and you equate them, because you see AG upon GC is common, so I can say that AE upon ED is equal to BF upon CF, which is exactly what we had to prove, so hence proved. Then we have example number 3. So you've been given this figure, and they have already given that PS upon SQ is equal to PT upon TR. So if the sides are already given to be in the same ratio, we can use theorem 6.2 over here, which was the converse of basic proportionality theorem, and we can say that ST is parallel to QR. Now if ST is parallel to QR, you know that parallel lines have some properties of their own, like alternate angles are equal, corresponding angles are equal. So here you will make out that angle PST is turning out to be equal to this angle PQR, okay? And what is the reason over here? Corresponding angles are equal. But angle PST is given to be equal to angle PRQ. So we can equate these two angles, then we can say angle PQR is equal to angle PRQ. That means this angle and this angle, these two angles are equal. So then we can say that sides PQ and PR are also equal because they are sides opposite to equal angles. So sides opposite to equal angles are also equal. So if PQ and PR are equal, that means two sides of my triangle are equal, and that means that my triangle PQR is isosceles. So hence proved.